download that. Anyway, what we got here is kind of simple lasagna type of thing that I made. Basically, baked pasta. So you make a meaty pasta, however you like, and then just scoop a bunch of it into a casserole dish. Grate a bunch of fresh cheese over top. Cook it in the oven for about half an hour at 425 until the cheese starts to turn golden brown. And there you go. You basically got an instant lasagna. It's very, well, not instant, but,
Bluetooth mode.
It is tasty. And it also helps the leftovers go a little farther because this takes 4 leftover portions of the meaty pasta to make 6 pseudo lasagnas, like portions. So I'd say that's pretty good. And then you just kind of hack your way through it. So I was thinking, I'm just kind of bored with Bus Simulator, so um, might come back to that when we're feeling appropriately zen. But I either want something with a little more action or a little more productivity. So I think we're going to go with productivity and maybe do work on some clips because those are woefully behind. And if I don't do clips tonight, then that means we'll have 3 marathons I'll have to go through for clips. So I'd rather only have 2 instead of 3. So the next one we need to do clips from is one of the marathons. So, yeah, I figure we'll do that. Hey, greetings, Wolf. How's it going? Open that. And then, looks like I'm just eating a brick. It's lasagna. It's good. Anyway, homemade. Because I like to make things at home myself. I made this. I made it. Me. I made it. So I wanted to hold on, I need to check something here. Do this and then do oh shit. No, that's not gonna be the right one, is it? Okay, never mind. We'll just switch over to this one. Oh, which you can't see. So that's fine. That's fine. I gotta figure out which freaking one it is. This one? No. This one? No. This one? Yes, that's the one. Okay, I found it. Oh, all right. Yes, let's take that off. Let's do this. Actually, no. It should just pop right out. No? Fine. This is the one we want. There we go. Okay. So now. Fuck no. Jesus Christ, this is pissing me off. For some reason, it won't let me resize it. Well, we'll try to resize it when we switch over to it. So let's do that, shall we? Okay. So now, oh, and where's our fucking background, by the way? Hey, you wanna bring our background picture back, maybe? There we go. Why are all the things broken? Okay, so we're gonna head over here. And there we go. So this is what I'm talking about. I can't seem to resize. Oh, now it lets me. Okay. I guess it's because I was in like the preview screen or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, now it's letting me do it. No problem. Ah, sorry. Almost got it. Sure. I guess we can just shrink it down a little bit so it's got sort of some presence of the background, I guess. Sure, whatever. I don't care. I just want to eat my food. Ugh. Anyway, um, so next one we have is a marathon. I haven't done it yet because it's like a 14.5 hour long marathon. I don't know how much actual winning we get in it, and it might be one of those ones where we won once and then just died over and over again for the rest of the night. I don't know. All I remember is it's a 14.5 hour long stream because it was a good marathon that month or week, whatever. And there's no stream markers and no clips. So either we just had like the worst gaming session ever and nothing of any note whatsoever happened in that entire time. Or people getting lazy with clips again. I think it's the latter, personally. Not been as much enthusiasm for clipping the funny bits as of late. Well, we'll see. There's more people watching these days, too, so I think you can do clips on both Twitch and YouTube. Don't ask me how it works on YouTube. I have no idea. On Twitch, I know there's a little clapboard button underneath the video player usually, somewhere. And that's the clip button. You click that, and it'll make a little clip. And I think it takes you to an editor so you can like just start to finesse the start and end points. And give it a funny title. Please always give it a funny title because when we're going through clips later, it makes it easier to tell what it is. Also makes it more likely to be picked up, you know, in Twitch's clip rotation that it pushes out to people randomly. So, you know, be creative. Don't be too dirty. A little dirty is fine, but not too dirty. Because then it'll just get buried. So did anybody do anything special for Doctor Who's birthday today? I didn't really do much, honestly. I read the original comic book of the Star Beast, which is or reread, I should say, because I read it many years ago. Which is one of the stories being adapted into one of the specials this year, which is kind of cool. I like when the comic books get acknowledged like that. My only minor point. Is I don't know why they keep going back to the Star Beast. Because the Star Beast is like, it's an okay story. It's not great. It never really wowed me. But I don't know. I think if they're going to tap the comic book well, there's a lot of other stories they could do that are just as good, if not better. Well, there's definitely some better ones. Just no matter how filmable they would be, I guess, because some of them get pretty surreal. I don't know. Is this you watched 5 long movies for a marathon once, but you didn't make it? Yeah, last time I did like the movie marathon. Part of that was because I took so bloody long to get started, because that the day I decided to do it was the day I had all that other crap I had to do first. So I had already been up and running around doing things for a good chunk of the day by the time I finally sat down to do the marathon. So that was entirely my own fault. I think if I prepared properly, I could probably do it. But most people don't even do that anymore anyway. It's not, they decided rather than do it as an endurance challenge, just do it as, a little bit different. Do it as, watch 24 hours worth of movies. Or even just watch a bunch of movies. It doesn't have to be 24 hours. Oh my God, specifically. Just watch a bunch of movies and, make a video about it, essentially. Have a marathon on your own terms. Just meet all the criteria for what kind of movies you need to watch. But I know people do like, a proper marathon where it's all done in one go. And seeing the gradual descent into loopiness. Yeah, I think one of the ones I watched was Spartacus, which I'd never seen before. But that was because I think one of the criteria was you had to watch something that was, 3 hours or more, like what have you. So I hadn't seen Spartacus yet. So I was like, well, let's check out Spartacus. It was actually pretty cool because there was a lot of movies in that marathon that I had never seen before. Well, Ben-Hur would have been another choice for sure. But I decided to go with something I hadn't seen before. I've seen Ben-Hur many times. I've seen Lawrence of Arabia even more. Love Lawrence of Arabia. Talk about a descent into madness. There you go. I'm Sarah Nice right. No, I'm Sarah Nice right. That scene would be 4 times longer just because of the number of syllables in my name. Blame it on spending too much time food prepping. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's part of it. But to be fair, none of what I made really required tons of prep. really what it was is I decided to, I was doing all the maintenance on my computers and everything. I really should have done that before. But I mean, I guess it made for an interesting little additional thing for the video. So it's a day in the life, not necessarily a typical day. I don't obsessively clean my computers every single day. Most of the time, it's once every few months. Or or when performance starts to dip a little bit, I'm like, I wonder if it's full of dust bunnies. I should probably check. I don't. Yeah, because I think in terms of actual productivity, i.e., making the marathon video, I literally just filmed my whole day of doing stuff. And it's like, well, this will be the whole thing. So it's not a typical day, but it is a day that is accurately depicting what I did that day. Footage of me crashed out on a mattress. I don't know. Or I might have just taken a shot of me on the mattress pretending to be asleep or something just to have a shot. I don't remember, honestly. It's been so long. Feels like it was a lifetime ago I made that. It was probably a good 10 years. At least. So I think that one was... I did that one shortly before I got my current camera. Or some manner of camera upgrade. I can't remember. I think I was still using the first 1080p webcam that I got, which had really nice quality, like in terms of detail, but the frame rate was awful. Motion blurred into oblivion. Until like 4 or 5 a.m. my time. Also depends what all was going on before then too. Like, was I running around doing things all day the day before, or I don't know. But I think my thinking also was, I'll do all these sort of, errandy, choresy things as a part of the marathon video, simply because it makes it a little bit more interesting of a video. Just more stuff that I do in it. Thought I fell asleep watching a movie. I mean, it's entirely possible I was dozing off. And that's likely why I decided to break the continuity and have a nap. But so I may have failed at the marathon part of it, i.e., doing it all in one go, but I still made sure to fit all of the criteria of the marathon in terms of what movies to watch, and made, I think, at the time, the longest of all the marathon videos. Wasn't it like 3 90-minute parts or something? It's like 4.5 hours. Yeah, Luke, Razor Wire Ryan, the absolute madman, has long since surpassed that running time with some of his. He's had one or two that run around 6 hours, I think. And he's got a bunch that are in various stages of production, post production mostly. So at some point, there's just going to be an onslaught of marathon videos on his channel. I don't think anyone will complain. Yeah, there was. It was like a big collaboration. He was just asking, wasn't there like 6 or 7 other people doing the same thing simultaneously? It was. Ryan Chataway started it, and the idea was for it to be just something fun for the the collecting and film enthusiast community to do, kind of as something a bunch of us would participate in, and it would be the kind of thing all of us would want to watch as well. Like, I watch just about every single one of those marathons, but I don't watch a lot of like regular content from people I've known for ages. So, but a big special event thing like that, is cool. So I really like the whole idea of it, and that so many people participate in it and continue to participate in it all these years later. I know it's definitely a big deal to Ryan. He's just like beside himself with joy at how much the film community on YouTube embraced it. But yeah, you pick your own movies. It'll be a criteria like you have to watch a black and white movie. You have to watch one of your old favorites, or you have to watch a childhood favorite, or you have to watch a movie that's over 3 hours long. You have to watch a film noir. Like, it would be like a genre or just a specific criteria of running time or era or something like that. So they're pretty straightforward and very flexible. And then you can as to what you decide to watch, that's entirely up to you. And that's the whole idea of it, right? Is that everybody does pick stuff from their own collections and what they're interested in, what they're passionate about. So, it's really a great way for people to, for collectors and enthusiasts to really get some meat and potatoes of what these particular collectors and enthusiasts are all about. It's a great way to do that. I think a really fun way to do that. And yeah, it's definitely something I've been wanting to do again forever. But understandably, they take a lot of time to put together. I mean, there's the initial filming. Even if you do it all in one go, great, you filmed the whole thing in one go. You still got to go through all that footage and find all the best bits and piece it all together into some kind of semblance of sense. But should do that with the Saturday AM cartoons. Yeah. I'd love to do something with all the Saturday morning cartoons. It's almost a little overwhelming as to how to approach it. Like, I almost thought of doing like just a review series where I'd sit down, I'd pick one to watch, and I'd watch like 5 episodes a week or something. And, I'd do weekly reviews where I'd talk about, those 5 episodes, or even crazier, just do an episode by episode review. The problem is doing those is such a huge commitment. Like, if it's a 13 episode series, you're basically committing to doing 13 videos. And if you don't, then the people watching them will complain bitterly that you never finished it. I know, because I've got a few series that I'm well aware that I didn't finish and that I still might finish one day. I dare not mention them by name, because when I hear people mention them by name, it just makes me not want to do them. That's an ADHD thing. So, anyway, blah, 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 blah. What was I saying? Yeah. So, or if it's like one of those daily syndication shows that were all the rage in the 80s, where you'd have a single season show of an 80s cartoon, but it would be 65 episodes. So it would be like designed to go into Monday through Friday daily syndication right away. So 65 episodes, 13 weeks. They could show every episode 4 times in a 52-week year, right? So that was kind of the magic number, was 65. But imagine reviewing one of those. I mean, that's a lot of content you know? That's a lot of content. But if you're going to do it, I mean, obviously you want to be consistent with it, and you want to do it, go big or go home, right? So, um, if they're half-hour cartoons, you can do four. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I would sit down and I would watch like a bunch of them, but I don't want to watch too many at a time because then they kind of get blurred in my brain, and I wouldn't be able to do like proper reviews of them. I'd have to go back and like recheck things and stuff. So, yeah, they're usually around 80s ones are usually around 20, about 20 minutes of story and about a minute or 2 minutes of titles, like opening and closing titles. So yeah, so all told, you're typically, if you're including everything like opening and closing titles, commercial bumpers, and obviously the full show as it originally aired, you're generally looking at about 22 to 23 minutes an episode for that era. I remember recording some and noticing, like with a lot of the Marvel and Sunbow shows, they used the same closing credits for every episode. It was just a generic one that they used, which just listed all of the cast and crew for the entire series. And I noticed that they were the same. So I thought, well, why do I need these on every episode then? So I started cutting them out. Particularly nice with the miniseries stories because then they would just kind of play like a movie, And I noticed with those particular shows anyway, when I would cut out the opening and closing titles, the show just the show portion was almost exactly 20 minutes every time. So I knew I could just divide it by 20 minutes, figure out how many, I could fit like 5 on a tape in SP mode, nice quality and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling now. Got me thinking about my early days of recording stuff off TV. But yeah. Flintstones, I think the Flintstones runs a little longer actually because it's older. It's like over the course of time, the amount of actual show you get in a half hour has become less and less and less. It used to be back in like the 60s and I think up to the 70s. It would be about 24, 25 minutes for a half hour. So you'd get like that much show in every episode. And then later they would cut stuff out for when they sold it into syndication. So you'd have the so-called syndication prints, which would be missing sometimes as much as 5 minutes of footage from every episode. So, yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like the Flintstones. I think most of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons did the same thing, where they just had um, the same ending titles every time. They would also do slightly longer intros and outros. I don't know if you noticed that. Like the Scooby-Doo intro is actually quite long by cartoon intro standards. By the time we got around to the 80s, most cartoon intros were like 30 seconds. There was exceptions, like Thundercats was about a minute, I think. Beast Wars was a minute originally. But most of them were like 30 seconds because they wanted to just kind of quickly introduce everything and get into that day's episode. Because, they know kids are watching and kids have short attention spans. You got to hook them. You get them with a good catchy song and lots of action for 30 seconds and then into your story. So that's very true. Yeah, Jerry says with 5 minutes cut, they might occasionally refer to a character or situation that we never even saw. Exactly. I remember that happened with NYPD Blue, because there was one of the stations that it came in on was, I guess, a Canadian station or something, but I don't know if it was an affiliate. So they were getting the syndication prints like right out of the gate, even though it was still airing on network television. So I always hated whenever it was only being shown on that, because it was simulcast with the American station, right? But the way it works here with Canadian content laws, if the same program is airing on both a Canadian and American station, the Canadian station has to override the American station. So only the Canadian version is being shown in Canada at that time. It's kind of ridiculous. So the problem was the Canadian version was cutting out all this stuff. And I noticed, because I was taping the episodes, and I noticed when I cut down the commercials, there was a few minutes difference between the ones I recorded off the American station versus the ones I recorded off the Canadian station. Oh, and the real tip-off was, what really clinched it for me was, there was an episode, exactly what you were saying, actually. There was an episode where there was a recap of something rather significant that had happened between two characters in an earlier episode. And I was like, I don't remember that. And sure enough, it was because they cut it out. No, well, that's the thing. It wasn't even that they were cutting out nudity in particular, but they left the butts in and stuff like that. They left the swears in. It was just like random stuff they just seemed to cut out. I don't know, like. But one of which was like a very, passionate moment between two characters where this relationship had been kind of hot and cold for a little while, and you've been waiting for this moment, and they cut it out. Like, oh, so then I see the recap weeks later when they're revisiting that storyline, and I see these two characters kiss in the recap, like quite passionately, quite heated, and I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing that. When did that happen? Did I like go to the bathroom or something and miss it? But no, it just wasn't in the version I had that aired in my area. Of course, I eventually got the DVDs, so I've since seen all those episodes in their original uncut glory. But it was a little bit of mix and match when I was taping them off TV back in 1993, 94. Those tapes are long since gone. Those ones I didn't keep. This was before I got the idea that, not just capturing the shows, but also digitizing the commercials would be of interest, like historical interest, nostalgic interest. So I just didn't think of that at the time. I was just like, I got to cut out all the commercials. So I just have the show. That's what you did back in the days of VHS. You can really tell when you buy a DVD, Blu-ray, 4K of an entire show series, and you see stuff that you never saw on TV, no matter how many times you saw the reruns. Oh yeah, because they ideally get the original network versions of the shows with everything intact. So before they made any cuts. Yeah, I remember there was some stink about that with some shows in their early DVD releases, like the first couple seasons of Roseanne when it was originally released on DVD. Not the Mill Creek set. The Mill Creek set is actually the full uncut episodes. This was the earlier one, the studio set. First couple seasons were the syndication prints, not the network prints. People were pissed. They actually told Roseanne about it, and then Roseanne told the studio to use the correct prints, so she actually stood up for the show, which was pretty cool. But then, what else was it? But then you had Alf, good old Alf, alien puppet guy, hilarious, love it, very 80s. What is it? Shout Factory? I think it was Shout Factory put out the DVD set a few years back. All 4 seasons, new intros by Alf himself for every episode, commentaries, everything, lots of extras. Syndication prints for all 4 seasons. Every single stinking episode, a syndication print. Their excuse? Oh, the original broadcast masters aren't in very good shape. Okay. Well, I can go to archive.org right now, and some fans did like a 1080p upscale from the uncut network versions, and they look amazing. So I don't know what Shout Factory was smoking, but there's been a few cases where they kind of passed the buck on being called out on, poor quality control like that. And it's really, they used to be one of those companies you could just trust implicitly, You could just take them at their word that this release was going to be something special. And to be fair, the majority of them were. But um, there's been a few times in the Scream Factory line when they've just kind of, well, actually, at both the Scream Factory and Shout Factory lines, where they've just really dropped the ball as far as the quality control and what they deemed okay for release. The reboot set, for example, was just an absolute travesty. I can't believe they allowed that to go to market. Um, the original Blu-ray release of Cat People was a studio supplied print that had like excessive DNR and shit, so I didn't buy it. Oh, that reminds me, that came out on 4K recently, didn't it? And it's a new transfer. I have not owned Cat People in my collection since the days of Laserdisc. So let me just take a quick peek here. Cat People. That's right. And I think there was some kind of box set of the old one as well. It was like 2 or 3 movies. Cat People. Maybe I'll be lucky and it'll be really cheap for Black Friday. Cat People. Well, here's the Blu-ray. This is the bad print, the Blu-ray. And of course the 4K is like double the price. This is the good print. This is the new one. And the Blu-ray also includes the same transfer for the Blu-ray version. So that's very nice. So this is the one to get right here. If you're going to get Cat People. And you get both 4K and Blu-ray. So you're future-proofing if you don't have 4K yet. I wish Arrow did that. There's a few releases. I bought the Blu-ray version because I didn't have 4K yet, and I didn't know when I'd be getting it, and I didn't want to wait to watch this nice new edition of this movie that I love. So I got the Blu-rays for RoboCop and Flash Gordon. Those two stick out in my mind in particular. And Tremors? Did Tremors have a 4K? I don't actually remember. But anyway, the way Arrow does it is they put out 2 separate sets. There's a 4K set and a Blu-ray set. I mean, I guess that keeps the costs down for the individual sets a little bit. Can't be that much though. I mean, it's literally pennies on the disc per disc, so I don't see any reason why. And I mean, if anything, it's got to be more work for them having to print up 2 nearly identical sets with slight differences. I mean, that's got to cost them more money. Like, wouldn't it be more cost effective to do them as combo packs? Like, I just don't get it. I mean, it's almost as if the argument is that the packaging is less expensive to produce than the discs, and I just don't fucking believe that. So, any idea how many titles are in your collection as of 2023? Oh god, I don't know. The collection is such a mess right now. I really need to reorganize. Probably need a couple more shelving units too. A lot of the shelves in the back are actually double rowed now because I just didn't have any more shelves. And that's after moving the entire Doctor Who collection to its own shelving unit and moving the entire horror collection to its own shelving unit over in the dungeon area. So I'm still hurting for space. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, gotta reorganize, gotta dust everything, get all tidied up. But I mean, God, I don't even know. What does a few thousand look like? It's a few thousand. What's been really depressing is it's been a tight year for money. So I haven't added as much to the collection this year as I would normally like to, and I've had to miss out on certain releases. But yeah, oh, that's pretty sweet. Jerry says I found the Johnny Sacco and his flying robot Japanese with American dub. Um, 2-season collection for under $25 for Black Friday, 67 to 68, 26 episodes. That's cool. That was a Shout Factory release, I think, wasn't it? I seem to recall they put that out. I don't know if that's the set you got, but I know they put out a set of it at some point. But yeah, that looks like a fun one. I've never seen that one. I didn't really, I don't know that we really got a lot of those shows in my area when I was growing up. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have been all over them. But like we never got Speed Racer in my area, for example. It wasn't until years later that I even heard of Speed Racer. Actually, where I originally heard of Speed Racer was through the Now Comics independent comic book series, like licensed comic book series of Speed Racer that they did. That was where I first heard about it. And the first time I ever experienced a Speed Racer story of any kind was actually a Racer X comic, which was a spin-off of the Speed Racer series. So but no, I didn't see it as a kid. Also, Astro Boy. Astro Boy came on in my area when I was already into my brooding teen years, so it was a little too young for me at the time. Nowadays, I love them all. I mean, I appreciate them for what they are and what they contributed to anime history, certainly, especially in terms of bringing them out to the West. Um, no, actually, again, heard of Batfink, never watched it. You'd think that's one I would have seen though, because that's like right up my alley. But no, the first ones I saw, like in terms of anime, were was Battle of the Planets. That one was on in my area, so I used to watch that quite a bit. And I think that's the earliest memory I have of watching an anime was watching Battle of the Planets, or it might have been under the title of G Force. Well, I know they called themselves the G Force, which I only discovered this century was for Gacha Man. That's what the G stood for. But it was back to back with Speed Racer. Yeah, I think here it was more in markets that had both. It was like Speed Racer and Astro Boy back to back quite commonly. And sometimes Gigantor would be in there as well. But yeah, I didn't see any of those. I didn't even hear about them until years later. Um, Astro Boy quite a bit later. Although I think Astro Boy had been on in my area, I just hadn't seen it. Um, Even when I was like, 10, between 10 and 12, I was more into like the serious stuff, like the action adventure stuff and whatnot. So the more kind of lighthearted kiddie stuff didn't really appeal to me much. Um, as I said, I have mellowed with age with a lot of these things, but but yeah. So after that, or after Battle of the Planets, the next big one I saw was Force 5, which came out a couple years after the Shogun Warriors comics and toys. Now I had some of the Shogun Warriors, and I had at the time when I was a kid the first 3 issues of the Shogun Warriors comics. They did 20 issues total. I now have all 20 issues, but for a long time I was wondering what happened after that cliffhanger ending of issue 3. Actually, I did find out once because a friend of mine had issue 4, so I borrowed it from him to read what happened next. But then, of course, that left off with the big cliffhanger too. So the only solution was to get all 20 issues. But so yeah, Force 5, which was 5 separate, unconnected, giant robot anime shows. And the idea being it was supposed to cash in on some of the Shogun Warriors craze, which unfortunately by the time Force 5 came out, Shogun Warriors kind of, came and went very quickly. So Force 5 came out about 2 years after Shogun Warriors came out, like the toy line and the comics. And the franchise was already winding down at that point. But I think Force 5 went on to enjoy its own success. I know it does have its fans out there, myself being one of them, obviously, who've done what they can to preserve the series. So I have most of Force 5 now, because it'll never be released in official form. But I have most of it in some form. But it was interesting. So they took these 5 different shows, although one of them was Starzinger, which was actually a sci-fi take on Odyssey to the East or to the West, whatever. Odyssey to the West, I think. Like with Monkey and all that, but it's like a sci-fi version of it, and they retitled it Spaceketeers. And then the other 4 were from other sort of giant robot anime. There was one called Starvengers, which was adapted from Getter Robo G, which was the second Getter Robo series. There was Grandizer, which was adapted from Grendizer, which is getting a really cool looking video game actually on most major consoles. Or is it just PlayStation? Maybe it's just PlayStation. I don't know. Anyway, it's getting a really cool video game, which is interesting considering what a niche format thing it is. I only just recently found out actually Grendizer was actually part of the Mazinger Z universe, so they were all connected. In fact, the main character in Grendizer was the main character in one of the Mazinger Z shows as well, so it was a direct continuation in a way. But you can also watch it on its own, which of course I have many times. What were the other ones? And then there was Dangard Ace. I love Dangard Ace. Would love to see a release of that over here. And then finally we had Guy King, which has had a release over here, Dynomet Guy King. The interesting thing is, though, Force 5 was designed to go into daily syndication. So it was 5 shows of 26 episodes apiece. Okay. Most of those shows in their original Japanese form are way more than 26 episodes. So they just kind of took, enough that they could form some kind of coherent beginning, middle, and end, and then adapted those into English for Force 5. So that was my next big introduction. So that just made me fall in love with Super Robots, which I already had anyway because of the Shogun Warriors and everything. Then the next big one after that, which I think was like the next year, was Star Blazers, adapted, of course, from Space Battlecruiser Yamato. And they had the first 2 seasons of that, so 52 episodes of Star Blazers. I watched every single one of them, loved it, still love it to this day. Just recently saw the original Space Cruiser Yamato in its original uncut, uncensored Japanese form. That was really cool to see. Really, really cool to see. And then the one that really did it for me, once and for all, anime fan for life. I know a lot of fans are very split on this one, but it will always hold a special place in my heart, controversies aside. Robotech. So, yeah, love me some Robotech. And, and I guess Voltron was in between there, but I didn't really watch Voltron a lot because, again, it had that action adventure aspect, but the way it was translated and censored and watered down, it made it very much for little kids. So that kind of put me off. I liked the animation. I liked the visuals. I loved the stereo sound in it. But I just wasn't wowed by the sort of childishness of the way the characters acted and the sort of stories and stuff like that. Until I saw Go Lion, the original show it was based on, and well edited from. And holy shit, what a night and day difference. Both Go Lion and Dairugger are just ridiculously violent and gory. Like, they don't pull any punches. It's just 52 episodes of jaw-dropping horror and evisceration. And I remember watching them and I was thinking, like, what were they smoking that they saw these shows and thought, oh yeah, we could rework this to be suitable for 7-year-olds, you know? Yeah, sure. But hey, God bless them, they did it. And a legend was born, a legend that has been reborn several times since over the years. Something that Robotech seems to have a lot of trouble getting done. Hey, I got the Blu-rays. I think I'm pretty much done with Robotech. The only thing left for me for Robotech to collect would be the rest of the comics that I don't have. They got some nice collected editions of most of the comics. So yeah, did some really good comics for Robotech. Good stuff. But yeah, so what was this? They're on breakfast time before school during the week. They would label them volume 2, then 2, etc. Which ones would they label? Speed Racer and Batfink, you said? Volume 1 or volume 2? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I mean, I was thinking of this the other day. I mean, we live in a day and age where there is just so much content, old and current, you know, to consume. Like, where do you even begin half the time, you know? There's still like so much old stuff I want to see. Never mind all the current stuff. Right lately, I've just been kind of focusing on current stuff, like watching, shows that catch my eyes on Netflix or Prime or whatever. Because I mean, these days the streaming is kind of another form of FOMO. You want to make sure you see that show that you are interested in seeing before they take it away, because they might do that anytime. So I hate that shit. Oh, Michael, regarding the cataclysmic collision between bus and truck. Oh, truck full of logs, actually. Now you mentioned it. When we were playing Bus Simulator earlier, it says, I was expecting Final Destination, not rubber vehicles. Yeah, because I smashed into him as I accelerated as much as I could to rear end him, because he was in my spot, damn it. I had right of way to rear end him. Yeah, and it just kind of sent him ricocheting away. Like, there's no give. There's no, like, real physics at work other than, you know, it's just like a solid block of truck. Like, there's not, there's not a lot of moving parts there. The wheels spin, but I don't know. I have to say though, after playing Euro Truck Simulator, um, maneuvering a bus way easier than maneuvering a semi. At least you know where you stand when you're backing up and which way your rear end is going to go. Makes a big difference when you have that vital information. But can't cheat death. I know. It'll always get you. It'll get you in the end. Yeah, so you talk about something that I'm both collecting and need to get caught up on, and is anime. To sort of keep with the current discussion, is Attack on Titan, which just finished finally after literally 10 years. The final episode finally came out. We're still waiting on the English dub, but otherwise it's done. And the manga finished up a little while ago. But yeah, I left off. The farthest I've seen was about halfway through season 3. So I got the other half of season 3 and all of season 4, which is like 30 episodes, I think, for season 4. So I got like a good chunk of Attack on Titan left to watch. I've only seen maybe 2/3 of it, I think, thereabouts. Yeah, about 2/3 of it. But yeah, great stuff. Good stuff. Whenever possible, I try to do screenings on the Discord. So, anybody who's around who wants to pop in and watch along with us can. So, Attack on Titan is one that we were doing recently. For that reason, I wanted to get caught up because I knew that the ending was coming. But I'd like to do a lot of different animes there, especially the older ones that not many people might know these days. And plus, there's still a lot of older ones that I haven't seen that I'd love to watch. Good old anime. I like it. It's pretty. Gonna be pretty. I just remember this like very unattractive woman that a friend and I saw once when we were just bumming around in Toronto, and I was kind of showing him some of my favorite haunts. And she just had makeup just smeared onto her face. And she was like, older, chubby, but not cute chubby, just like doesn't take care of herself at all chubby. There is a difference. But the thing that really struck us was the fact that her lipstick had been applied not in the normal manner that one would expect, where it is meant to follow the shape and contour of one's lips. No, she had literally drawn a rectangle in lipstick and filled it in. And that was it. So I just picture her like just filled with bottled up rage from a lifetime of misery. I'm gonna look pretty. uh yeah. Toronto's an interesting city. It is very large, but you will never want for anything to do there. It truly is one of those cities that never sleeps. I mean, it does sleep. Bars do close eventually, but there's that 24-hour coffee slash donut slash breakfast shop just around the corner. You know, you can always hang there until things open up again, which is probably be in about 2 hours. So, yeah. I miss it sometimes. It definitely has like the hustle and bustle. I don't know how I would handle that now. Um, Having lived on the West Coast for so long, and it's so much more laid back here. Toronto's over on the East Coast. East Coast is the hustle and bustle. I mean, I think there's some of that here too. Like if you go over to the mainland to like Vancouver and stuff like that, I think there's some hustle and bustle there. But I don't know, just Toronto in particular. But the thing I always loved about Toronto is it's like as true a melting pot as you could ever hope to find. Just people from all walks of life, all different cultures, all different races, everything. and a lot of different subcultures as well. Like the goth scene was huge over there when I lived there in the '90s. I mean, I don't think it is anymore. It's kind of gone back underground again, but well, sort of. It does seem to be getting popular again thanks to social media. So I don't know. Who knows? It's a thing that comes and goes. It comes and goes in ebbs and flows. Yes, but yeah, there's that, and then there's of course all the comic shops. Comic shops were abundant. There was like three major ones within walking distance of each other on the same street. It was wonderful. Um, I remember how clean Toronto was for a city its size. It is, yeah. It's a pretty well maintained city. The street cleaners are going all the time, which keep the streets clean. Um, I think there's a lot of pride in the city to to keep it so. I mean, to keep the positive public image. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the transit system. The transit system is phenomenal. It's like probably far more than they even need, but it's so good. It can get you like all the way across town in like a matter of minutes if you know which one ways to go. The subway, especially, I loved taking the subway. So yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like taking the subway, I could go. I was living with my mom up in the suburbs, which normally would be a couple hours north of the city, and I would take a bus down to the subway station. So bus ride about 5 minutes, get on the subway. I'd be downtown, like in the heart of the city within like 20 minutes. Like it was ridiculous how much faster the subway was. Like literally faster than all other options. Even if you were driving, it would still be faster to take the subway. So, yeah. So you wonder why I don't drive. Well, it's because I grew up in an environment like that, where the public transit was just so frickin' good. You really had no incentive to drive. Public transit would literally get you there faster, you know? And there's not really a lot in the way of kind of off the beaten track places in Toronto. I mean, it's a proper city, you know? I mean, they merged all the outlying districts into Toronto. So it's actually what they call a mega city because it's just so stupidly huge now. But I remember it where Toronto was just kind of the central area, and then all the outlying districts were kind of connected, like Mississauga and Scarborough, and I can't even remember what they all were now. But I remember those two because I knew people who lived there. But anyway, yeah, it was a good city. It was a good city. I used to go when I was job hunting. I would sometimes go for lunch at the CBC Broadcast Center, just kind of hang out and people watch. And they would do some of their like midday talk shows and such right there in the lobby. So I just kind of sit there munching on my sandwich and watch them film a show. And it's like, oh hey, it's Ralph Ben Murgy. Any Canadians in the room might know who that is. I don't expect anyone else to know who that is. Very much a Canadian specific celebrity. He hosted some of the, special interests, you know, fluff type shows you see at noontime and whatnot. But yeah, a very inoffensive kind of talk show host. I think he had a late night show here for a while as well. Just late night with Ralph Ben Murgy or something. But yeah, so anyway, it was kind of cool to see these, Canadian famous people that I recognized, just kind of doing their thing. Never asked for an autograph, actually. I never asked for any autographs there. For me, it was about um, just kind of the experience of getting to see a show being made right there, just on location in the freaking lobby of the CBC Broadcast Center. And it looked great. It had gave it this nice kind of open air, casual look to it. You'd see the finished product on TV, and it would look like this beautiful summer day, and everybody's having a nice time. There's a nice, refreshing breeze blowing, and they're just talking about, you know, Granny Smith and her kitty. I don't know, whatever the fuck they talked about. Local interest stuff mainly. Local interest, occasionally dipping into national stuff, but mostly pretty local interest. So yeah, but it was interesting to go there for my lunch, and I took a couple of tours of the broadcast center. That was cool. Honestly, I just really wanted to work there. It was kind of my dream to write and direct for television. Be a Chris Carter or an Eric Kripke or a Duffer Brothers. I wanted to do that kind of thing. Maybe I still will someday. Who knows? Anything's possible if you believe. But this is before the days of streaming and whatnot. At the time, I was thinking, stations are going to be starved for content because of all the specialty channels coming in at the time. So this wasn't even streaming. This was still cable, but it was all these specialty channels are coming out in the 90s that focused on specific niches. So you had like sci-fi channel, a comedy channel, sports channel, cartoon channel, like kids channel, family channel, all these different ones for all these different walks, like history channel. So all these different special interests. So my thinking was these channels are going to be starved for content. So I should start putting my name out there as someone who, hey, I can help you make that. So I did eventually get a call back from the CBC. It wasn't to write and direct my own 26 episode big budget sci-fi epic series, as I had hoped the call would be for, but rather it was to be put in as a reserve cameraman for sporting events. Well, hey, we get my foot in the door, right? So I put my name on the list, and I never got a phone call. So that was the big beginning, middle, and end of my journey to find employment with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. So, alas, I would just have my lunches there and pretend I worked there. Well, not really. More just kind of. I think it was. This is like long before I heard about anything like about The Secret or the power of positive thinking or manifesting things or whatever. But I think that's literally what I was trying to do. I was literally just trying to manifest it by putting myself in that mindset of wanting to be there and thinking positively, the positive feelings that I felt. So I think about it now, I was literally doing what people do now to try to manifest things in their lives, just to kind of, focus on how it would make you feel to have that thing. And people say it's like, oh, it's the power of the universe making it appear out of thin air in front of you. That's not really what happens. What it is it puts you in the right kind of mindset to focus on what you need to do to make that thing happen. So that's literally what I was trying to do. But I was, young and stupid and idealistic, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just kind of winging it. So I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was I wanted to write and direct for television. And the reason I wanted to write and direct for television specifically is because back in the 90s when I was doing all this, I really wanted to do serialized drama and like action adventure type stuff, like is commonplace now with streaming shows. I was wanting to do that back then because a lot of my favorite shows, of course, were serialized stuff. In particular, all the British sci-fi that I love, you know, all of it serialized. And I loved serials. I love good cliffhangers. I wanted to do shows like that. Um, so yeah, maybe I still will. Who knows? But that was one of my just it made sense in my brain attempts to bust into showbiz. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like in my head, I was thinking outside the box, and that was going to get me noticed. So I would put in job applications, right? And the job application would always ask, like, "Well, what kind of position do you want?" And I said, "Writer and director of television." You know, I just made no bones about it. I just cut right to the chase. That's like walking into the interview and telling the interviewer you want his job. I want to take over your job. I want them to fire you and give me your job, and then I can interview you to get a job here. That's what I want my job to be. Exactly this, but I am you. Except I'm more of a dick than you. You seem like a nice guy. Anyway, I'm gonna go smoke, and then maybe we'll actually do something. I just realized this cat people picture almost kind of goes with Malice on the side there. That's kind of funny. That's funny. Bouchard's Garden. Bouchard's Garden. Yes, indeedly doodly. Did I forget to? No, should be up there. Did I not pin anything anywhere? Oh no, I pinned it on YouTube. I didn't do it on Twitch, right? Sorry, just to let everyone know who wasn't already aware, and to, I guess, remind those who forgot, because I forget things a lot myself these days. The hell was that? Is my computer possessed? I always get messages on, and that's so weird. I was literally just thinking about this person, like, not 5 seconds before this popped up. Get out of my brain, you. I don't know why you keep trying to message me on Steam. I never talk to anybody on Steam. I don't know if they're even still watching the stream. Well, no, I literally just checked. I was like, oh, because I was just thinking, I wonder if this person's still here. No. Why can't I can't open anything here? God damn. So annoying. So annoying. I will say howdy. There. I was sociable. You're all witnesses. I did something sociable. Yeah. So we are not watching Z spend his rent money on Blu-rays, because I don't actually do that anymore. I'm a good boy these days. Oh, hold on. What? You seriously just call me bro? You did not just call me bro. Don't call me bro. Unless you're a big beefy dude in a gym, then you may call me bro. But that would require me going to a gym to interact with said bro guy. I don't know where this is going, so I'm just going to drink my coffee. Are you not entertained? Yes. Did I kill the bus game? I think I killed the bus game. Yes, I killed the bus game. How much space is that taking up anyway? 6 gigs. All right, so it's about like a DVD sized game. I actually really want to try this lawn mowing simulator. I think that one would be like would have like a satisfaction factor about it. I mean, mowing a lawn, come on. You know, is very satisfying. So, perhaps tomorrow for quiet time we might give that a spin for a little bit. Hopefully we don't have to spend half an hour designing our character just to have it forget everything that you designed to from one errant button press. Honestly, a lot of times I know some people get really into it, and bless them. Hey, you embrace your joy. Just know that it is a joy that I do not share with you. That joy that you feel from spending hours and hours designing the perfect character. Yeah, I don't care about any of that really. I mean, just let me just pick the basics. Yeah, hot, skinny, goth chick, short, dark hair, couple badass scars, maybe some ink, and let's go. You know, like I'm good. Here we go. Can I modify this later? Yes. Okay, then why do I have to do it all right now? Why are you being all up in my business? I just want to get into the goddamn game. Is that a Kira game? No, that is not. It just looks like a similar logo. Kanji. I learned a very, very little bit about how to read kanji when I was in school. And I'd love to be able to read it properly. I got my address. I don't think so. Okay, well, I mean, I've shown Amazon all the time, so if anyone wanted my address, that's not my full home address though anyway. That's those postal codes are not like house specific. They're more kind of yeah. It's like an IP address isn't necessarily different for every person in an area. It might cover an area, but Kind of like that. But thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate I appreciate you looking out for me there. Thanos, no less. Well, there you go. I always thought you kind of had a point there about that whole half and half deal, but at the same time, that's kind of a dick move. I see the point. I see the logic. But it's still kind of a dick move. That's something I got to get caught up on, actually, is the freaking MCU. There's so much stuff I haven't seen. I haven't even seen Endgame yet, speaking of which. I mean, I know basically what happens. I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock to not have that entire movie spoiled for you by now. But that's okay. I don't care because most of the Marvel stuff I already know it's going to happen basically anyway because I read comics. So for me, it's more about how did they adapt it. You know, how good is the adaptation? But but yeah, that's something I'd like to do at some point. But they keep putting out more all the time, and it's so hard to keep up. And I think a lot of people right now are feeling a little burned out on all of it because it's just like an onslaught of content now, between the shows and the movies, and it's just there's constantly something new coming out. So there is such a thing as too much of a good thing, right? All things in moderation. And on the one hand, they want to make full use of this huge library of characters and stories they have at their fingertips through, quite a lot of years of storytelling. And but on the other hand, they don't want to drive people away from their brand. Obviously, they want to strengthen the brand, not weaken it by oversaturating the market. And right now, I think there's a bit of a problem with oversaturation, with just how much content there is. And a lot of people are of the opinion that some of it has lessened in quality so that they can keep up with the quantity. And I can see some of those points. Not all of them. I think some of them are just, people being silly, but I can definitely see some of those points because that's what happens. I mean, you're just trying to pump out product. The quality is going to suffer at some points, So, but it sounds like they've been having a good old think about things over there, and hopefully they'll be getting things back on track soon. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care who knows it. I legitimately, unironically want a She-Hulk season 2. Loved season 1. It's actually the only MCU show to date that I have watched twice all the way through because I loved it so much. Yep. I would like to watch Moon Knight again. I really enjoyed that one too. That one actually got me to go and pick up the comics. So that's good. Ideally, that's what you want when you adapt a comic character to the screen. You want people to enjoy the movie or the show or whatever and get curious about the origins and then go and buy a bunch of comics. And they must have known there were people like me who would want to do that because they reprinted the first 3 Epic collections all within a month of each other right before the show came out. Now that's marketing. So many others they could have done that with that they didn't, and I don't know why. Like, for example, how many Spider-Man movies have there been, and where's our DVD set of 90s Spider-Man? Hmm? Where'd that be at? Hmm? Nowhere, that's where. Region 2 got a set. PAL sped up, but hey, at least all the episodes were there. And now with them pushing Disney Plus so hard, I don't know that we're ever going to see any of that older Marvel stuff get a physical release. I mean, I have the Region 2 sets that were put out of nearly all of the 70s and 80s stuff. And 90s. But you know, they were okay for their time, but it wouldn't hurt to revisit them with a new release. I mean, just generally speaking, anyway, because those old releases are long out of print. So, on the plus side, if you just want to watch the shows, at least you can see them on Disney Plus. They got most, if not all of them, up there. But if you want to own them, your only option for a lot of them is those Region 2 sets, some of which can fetch a hefty price tag these days. But those ones were important for me to get because they were definitely a big part of my childhood. I watched those 80s Spider-Man ones over and over again. Loved them. And then well, I think that's a bit of a personal question, Jerry, so I politely decline to answer. But let's just say I have had to deal with that type of situation before in the past. And I like to think that I learn from my mistakes. So, yeah. It's one of the advantages of having my YouTube channel is, of course, you can just look at my videos and see all the stuff I have. You know, it's pretty open and shut evidence that I owned those things. So, those collection overviews can serve a dual purpose in that respect. So you're trying to think, oh, excuse me, if we're going to start the marathon at, what did I say, 3, 4? Let's see what I set the time at. I think it was 4. I forgot what I came in here. I forgot what I came in here for. I went onto the Discord for something and I can't remember what it was now. I got distracted by other messages. Do you keep receipts? Yeah, well, actually, that's one of the advantages of buying a lot of things online. Is I can keep digital receipts of everything and easily, export them or what have you if I need to. So, I mean, I've got, excuse me, I've got digital receipts dating back at least a decade, if not longer. So, probably longer, actually. About 20 years of email records and everything. So, I'm a little meticulous in that respect. Should be covered if there is a fire. Yeah. The trick is, of course, with collectibles, is assessing the value at the time of the loss, because it can fluctuate. And with a large collection, I mean, that could be quite a daunting task to, to price everything. Even just to ballpark it, you'd still have to do some pricing, things that you knew were more valuable, I guess. But sometimes there's a surprise. Sometimes you don't realize how valuable some of your things are until you look them up. You're like, holy shit, that old DVD I've been using as a drinks coaster is worth a lot of money. Oops. But yeah. I like to think one of the neighbors would notice strange men carrying things out of my house. Yes. You would hope. Or strangers carrying things out of your house. Yes. You would hope. It depends. Some neighbors seem to have a strict non-intervention policy when it comes to anything to do with their neighbors. So, I don't know. Man. Hmm. So you could benefit from all the gifted items you have received. Well, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, some of them I'm sure are valuable. Um, Others not so much, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that. Obviously, just to have some more cool things for the collection. Um, but some of those have been kind of holy grail items. Actually, a lot of those were the aforementioned Marvel DVDs, the cartoons. Um, those are all from viewers. And if I were to go and sell those, I'd probably get a pretty decent price for them. But I don't want to sell them. But if I had to, I could, and I know I could get a pretty decent price for them. But oh yeah, if the neighbor's got just a plate number or vehicle description, exactly, at least gives them something. Not too worried about the dollar bin DVDs. He also has some very exclusive stuff. Yes. Well, I think every collector does. They always have those sort of shining jewels in their collection that are their pride and joy. And yeah, I've got a few of those. Most of which I've done videos about, sometimes multiple videos. Excuse me. Well, maybe we won't be doing clips tonight. Because I'm feeling very tired now, and I'm thinking I should probably start to think about going to bed. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to Discord to see what time I'd scheduled the marathon for tomorrow, because I scheduled it as an event. 4 p.m. Okay, yeah, so it's 4 p.m. my time, so that's Pacific time. So yeah, 4 p.m. Pacific, which would be like 7 on the East Coast, I guess. It would be midnight in the UK. And yeah. This was the clip that I think you're seeing it, right? Yeah, okay. This was the clip that Vermin was talking about earlier. We had our discussion about multiple meanings of a certain word.
Colonel, part of the reason we're in Karathi space is because of your flying. You've done the Victory proud. Now, as you may have heard on the grapevine, we're here to destroy this system's military garrison. We're going to have to fight through several waypoints. The enemy's spread out with patrols everywhere. Any ship that can escape to the jump point will be able to alert the rest of the Karathi to our presence here. And that would mean we'd have to scrap this entire offensive. You need to nail every last one of them, Colonel.
Consider them nailed, sir.
God, I love that boy's spunk.
There it was. Friends, Ross Geller without laugh track equals psychopath. Oh. The fact you can occasionally hear the laugh track pop in like the Souls of the Damned is just terrifying. Alright, there's only 2 minutes. Maybe it'll get flagged, maybe it won't. Who cares? Let's see.
Ross, may I have a word with you?
Oh, of course, Donald.
We've been getting reports of some very angry behavior on your part.
What?
Threatening letters, refusal to meet deadlines. Apparently, people now call you mental.
Yeah.
We want you to speak to a psychiatrist.
You don't understand. Ugh, this is so silly. This is all just because of a sandwich.
A sandwich?
Yeah, you see, my sister makes these amazing turkey sandwiches. Her secret is she puts an extra slice of gravy-soaked bread in the middle. I call it the moist maker. I put my sandwich in the fridge over here. And
I'm sorry. I believe I ate that.
you ate my sandwich?
It was a simple mistake. It could happen to anyone.
Oh, really? Did you confuse it with your own turkey sandwich with a moist maker? Do you perhaps remember seeing a note on top of it?
There may have been a joke or limerick of some kind.
That said, it was my sandwich.
Now calm down. Come look in my office. Some of it may still be in the trash.
What?
Well, it was quite large. I had to throw most of it away.
You threw my sandwich away. My sandwich. My sandwich.
Before communism, China had a glory.
That was amazing. I'm going to share that on the Discord and give them a thumbs up. Fantabulous. That was good. I like how, I mean, it was largely unchanged from the original delivery. Well, but of course, it's the same delivery. But I mean, just the tone of it isn't that different with or without the laugh track in that case, because he is going mad in front of this hapless idiot who dared to eat his sandwich. Oh, you mistook it for your sandwich? Well, yes, that was the point. Was I love that boy's spunk. We had a big discussion about the multiple meanings of that word, depending on, well, largely where you live in the world. Oh, and yes, hard to place a dollar amount on sentimental value. Absolutely. And you didn't even eat a shitload of turkey. No, I didn't. I wish I had. I love eating a shitload of turkey. But, well, soon enough. Actually, they'll probably start going on sale here fairly soon. Because, I mean, Christmas is only a month away. Holy shit. Where the hell is this year gone? I feel like it's just kind of slipped by while I wasn't paying attention. Oh well. I guess we're not doing clips tonight because now I got to think about getting ready for bed. Well, let me think here. So we're starting at 4. I ideally want to get up no later than 2. So we rock it back. So we got 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9. Right. 8, 7, 6. Okay, 5. All right. So ideally, I want to go to bed by about 5 or 6 at the latest. Yes. But I'm not going to stay hanging out with you guys until I'm about to pass out and just walk into bed. No. I was going to, watch a little boob tube and get a snack or something. Oh. Yeah. But anyway, this was a fun night. I like it when we just kind of get into a nice little chill and chat, and then that's it. That's how we kind of wind down for the evening. That's good. So yeah. So anyway, 4 p.m. my time. Mega Marathon Madness tomorrow. You guys mostly know how it works. Viewers contribute. We start with a base of 4 hours for the stream, and viewers contribute with direct donations through credit card or PayPal through Streamlabs. That's so you can get into the alert on the screen. To keep it going, to add time to the clock and to keep it going. So we have fun with that. We do them every other week. We usually just end up playing a lot of Fortnite, but we have fun. And most importantly, I get some end-of-month bill money. I'm a little concerned for this week, though, because, of course, it's Black Friday, and that's likely where most people are spending their money. But, hey, if you want to toss a few of those dollars you saved on Black Friday to your old buddy Z here, I certainly won't object to that. So, yeah. Anyway, that's at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Well, I guess later today, technically, now. Yes. I'm gonna go get food. I made like a shit ton of pancakes yesterday. They were so good. I might do that again. But I don't really want to, so I don't think I will. But I might. You never know. Until you try. Love is all you need. Come quietly or there will be trouble. I don't know. I hear that new RoboCop game is good. I will play it one day when it's $5 on a Steam sale. Actually, Jerry asked, not to mention US money equals what? 1.25 Canadian? A little more than that, actually. It's been averaging around $1.30 to $1.35. Doesn't hit 35 very often, but it's typically hovering between like 30 and 33. So, yeah, that's all right. I think the highest I ever saw it was 1.5, like fully 50%. So, you'd send $1 US, I'd get $1.50 Canadian, Yeah, it's about 1 1/3, roughly. But that's smaller than a quarter. No, it isn't. Like when one of the burger joints offered a 1/3 pounder to compete with McDonald's 1/4 pounder, and people didn't buy it because they thought 1/3 of a pound was less than 1/4 of a pound, and that McDonald's was the better deal. If people just frickin' stayed in school, we could have been eating the fattest burgers right now. Idiots. Ruining it for everybody. Anyway, I think I'm probably just going to warm up some meaty pasta and then watch a little tube. And then go to bed. I actually started reading that Hulk Epic collection that I got recently, the most recent one. The Curing of Dr. Banner. Yes, that's the one. It's volume 8, I believe. So, yeah, 8 consecutive volumes of the earliest adventures of the Hulk now. And volume 9 is already up for pre-order. I have already pre-ordered it. Let's split a 1/2 pounder. No, I want a 1/4 pounder. You know that's not as big, right? What are you talking about? 4 is a way bigger number than 2. Duh. I just want my pounder. Just give me a full pounder. I mean, that can be distributed across several patties. It doesn't have to be a single 1 pound patty. That'd be kind of ridiculous. Might as well just call it a roast beef burger by that point. Roast beef. Oh. Well, all of this has just made me hungry, so I'm definitely gonna go get some food now. Even though, didn't I just have food? I had food a little while ago, sufficiently long ago that I'm hungry again. So that's all that matters. And mattering is half the smattering, as the saying does not go, according to no one ever. Holy shit. Quack and Funk Monk and Michael. Hello. What the fuck is going on here? Yes, mattering. I'm mad. Fuck. Spelled with a PH, might I add. Yeah. So I think there were some funny things tonight. I don't really remember, but people were laughing a lot, so I take that as a good sign. And some achingly close almost wins. A couple of second places and a third place where we're just like, oh my god. We're so close. So close. I'm fine. The stream was a failure. I don't know. That remains to be seen. As long as the stream is still going, there is hope for a miracle. That remains to be seen, guy. Yeah. I'm glad you love that story. I'm glad the pain of my wage slave job amuses you. Because that was the intention, to amuse and delight with my pain. Today seems like a Saturday with no work and almost everything closed. Yeah, I didn't really go out today other than to get smokes and weed, so. Oh, and Q-tips. We were out of Q-tips. Gotta keep the ears clean, you know? I always imagines a deleted scene where he chucks popcorn at you and Shrug laughs. A deleted scene from that moment in my life. Further confirming that we live in a simulation and my life is a movie in which I am the main character. Well, if I'm the main character, why do I still only have 25,000 subs? What the hell, man? I should have been broken. I should have broken out by now. Well, we'll see how that goes. We are the stars of our personal show. How can I talk with no mouth? I have no mouth and I must scream. We're all the main character, our lives, our collective movies, shows. We are the stars of our personal shows. Wow, that is high as all shit level high, says Michael. Oh, Keanu, you mean? He says, how can you talk with no mouth, Mr. Z? That's how you shut up, Keanu. Gotcha. I still have to see the fourth one. I have not seen that yet. I like all of the previous Matrix stuff. Movies, the Animatrix. I still need to sit down and properly play the games. Matrix Reload or Matrix. Anyway, the one that ties into Reloaded with Jada Pinkett Smith and everything. And of course, the Animatrix, which was awesome. That was as sick as the mechanical bug in his belly button. Yes. Well, and you think about it, like, why did they have to make it so horrific? I mean, it's all just a computer program. But I don't know. I guess it has to manifest in some way within that reality. Like in that, it has to have a plausible presence in that simulation. That makes a little more sense, I think. You are the one who knocks. Knock, knock, knocking on Michael's door. Ah. Okay. There's a bunch of just blue shapes, circles, diamonds, squares. And I thought they had ornate symbols carved into them. But as I leaned forward and looked more closely, I realized that I was hallucinating. Axel Rose says Axel should have hung it up at about age 30. I really want to get into Better Call Saul, but I love Breaking Bad so much I want to watch it again, LMAO. Well, I mean, it is pretty outstanding television. And definitely one that I think would benefit from multiple viewings. sort of knowing certain things going in this time around. Be interesting how it shifts your perspective on certain things. But yeah, Better Call Saul is one that I need to watch as well. I have not seen any of it. I think I still need to watch that post-series movie they did. Focused on Jesse. El Camino. Alternating when the show gets into the episodes take place in between during episodes of Breaking Bad. Oh. Unless you have them like ripped digitally and like manually reordered into a playlist that you can just go through. Yeah, that would be maddening. I consider doing the same thing with the Flash and Arrow when that started. But then they were bringing all the other shows into it. Again, it was like oversaturation to me. It actually pushed me away from the whole thing. So yeah, so it's kind of like that. So yeah, I was gonna do that with Arrow and the Flash because they were kind of running concurrently and occasionally would cross over. So when I got to the crossovers, I wanted to be caught up to the appropriate points in both shows for the crossover. But that would mean alternating back and forth. So basically, I would have to do it as digital rips and put together a playlist that just puts them all in the right order. Yes, no, it is nice with Clone Wars. Mike was just saying I do like that with Clone Wars, the Star Wars website. Filoni confirmed and made a chronological episode ordering list. Yes. The other one being the X-Men 90s animated series. I found a blog by one of the original writers on the show, and he revealed the definitive episode order based on what he said was how they developed the stories and kind of where they were going. So it was all kind of part of the plan. Razor Wire Reviews, ladies and gentlemen, says, "You sound like mulch." I feel like mulch. I've been up for mucho hours. I'm about to go to bed, actually. Well, actually, I'm about to get some food and then watch some Netflix and then go to bed. Watching more dystopian, conspiracy, and mystery-laden sci-fi with a show called Utopia. And a little bit of comic book stuff. The old, if I just stay up and go to bed at a decent hour, I can restart my clock fallacy. It only needs to work for one day. It only needs to work for tomorrow, because that's marathon day. So, yeah, it's mainly so I can do the marathon a little earlier, and hopefully we'll get a few more donos in. I should not have eaten as much turkey as I did. Turkey doesn't agree with me. Oh, all you bastards and your delicious turkey dinners. Fuck you. I am jealous. I love turkey. I always used to convince myself it would work. Well, it can, but not for long term. Long term change requires deeper commitment that I am just not ready for. But for short spurts, it can work. I mean, a lot of it is largely just you're trying to break old habits. And the saying is very much true, old habits die hard, so I have. I could just make meaty pasta. Actually sounds pretty good right now, honestly. Or I could make meaty pasta, or meaty pasta, or meaty pasta. Or I could just do a big pile of pancakes again. Big pile of pancakes. Pig pile? Pig pile of pancakes. And your turkey overdose, Michael, is giving you the worst of poops, you say. The natural laxative qualities of poultry. Best part is the grease just kind of slides right out. No fuss, no muss. Turkey poops. Would recommend. 5 stars. Greasy poops. Well, maybe if you ate goose rather than turkey, might be a little more slippery than usual. Wow, I appear to be passing out in my seat. I should probably go, folks. Well, we're almost at the 8-hour mark anyway. That's generally about the threshold we like to do for these every day. So, hope you enjoyed. Had some good conversation. Had some good times tonight. A lot of laughs. A lot of crushing losses. But we had a good time. Such as it was. Alrighty, folks. Well, that is it from me to you for now. I will see you later today for Mega Marathon Madness. More Fortnite fun, followed by, well, it depends how much extra time we get. If we don't even get enough to get us to quiet time, then it's probably just going to be Fortnite all day. But if we do get enough to get us to quiet time, we'll, do some other stuff in quiet time. Could just be another chillin' chat like this if you guys like those so much. I certainly enjoy them. Or, any one of a multitude of games that I have pre-installed and ready to go on the PS5. A lot of good retro-y stuff there, too. So, fun. All right. Catch you next time, folks. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who contributed today. And sayonara.